Y'all don't know anything about me, but I grew up in Upper East Tennessee. I perceived myself my whole life as a Republican. I always say I grew up a Republican. As a little boy, I pulled a wagon, a red wagon, down the street with Barry Goldwater stuff in the wagon. And then as I got older, I became a teenage Republican. I was the co-chair of the Tennessee Teenage Republicans. I was invited to Nixon's inauguration and campaigned for President Ford. And that's when I met Jim Cooper, actually, when we were both in college campaigning for our respective candidates. Also campaigned for Howard Baker, Lamar Alexander, Winfield Dunn. Attended both inaugurations of Dunn and Alexander, and was good friends with Senator Alexander and many of our former colleagues at Dearborn and Ewing. His mother's desk was my first desk at Dearborn and Ewing, his mother's school teacher desk. So why does that matter? Well, it probably doesn't, but I wanted to give you that as background. In 2 years, you will stand before the Tennessee Supreme Court, and you will be asked, in fact, to be able to be a licensed lawyer in the state of Tennessee. You will have to swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the state of Tennessee, and in the practice of your profession, you will conduct yourself honestly, in fairness, integrity, and civility to the best of your skill and abilities. I have spent 40 years doing my best to do that. And I expect all of you to do that as well. In fact, for you to be a licensed attorney in this state, you have to swear that you will do that. Now, as a young person at the University of the South, I majored in poli-sci. My specialty was con law. Loved con law. Two colleagues of mine and I got together and had the hardest professor in poli-sci put together a tutorial class just for the three of us that we took as extra our senior year. I loved it. In Sewanee, you have a comprehensive exam, and then if you want to get honors, you have to defend a paper in oral fashion before the entire board of professors, and I did that in con law and succeeded in that. So yesterday was an incredible day from a constitutional law perspective, in my opinion. In fact, I think it was the most significant day in my lifetime for con law. The previous most significant day was the day the Supreme Court handed down its unanimous decision in Brown versus the Board of Education. Now, yesterday, there was no action of the Supreme Court. In fact, I doubt if any of the Supreme Court justices were even in the building. No opinion came down from the Supreme Court. We won't be reading a document produced by the Supreme Court yesterday. So how could it possibly be an important day for constitutional law? Well, it started off with two Democrat senators, senatorial candidates in the state of Georgia, winning an election, a runoff election, due to a peculiar runoff requirement in the state of Georgia. And they came back to win, although both of them finished not ahead in the regular election because of activities by a self-indulgent and anti-constitutional democracy president of the United States. Then, after that, Congress, late this morning actually, defeated challenges to the state certification of their electoral college selections, challenges inspired by that same president of the United States, and the Capitol was besieged by a mob at the behest of that same president of the United States. Our Congress was not deterred by that mob from doing its job and returned the same day, presided over by the Vice President of the United States, and defeated the President of the United States' inspired objections. Former important President of the United States supporters, including the the leader of the Senate, Senator Mitch McConnell, And another important supporter, the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, Lindsey Graham, stood in debate last night in support of the United States Constitution. The formerly very loyal Vice President of the United States, very loyal to the president, broke from the President of the United States and decided to follow the Constitution. And then the Georgia senator, who just yesterday morning lost in that runoff election, in which she had had the highest vote totals in November, after losing that election yesterday morning and pledging in her campaign to vote in support of the objections to the certification of the Electoral College, stood up in the Senate last night and said she could no longer do that because of the POTUS-inspired mob attack on the Capitol. What an incredible day. Now, the to-be head of the Senate, Chuck Schumer, said it was a day that will live in infamy, and I'm sure that it will. But you know, to me, it shows the incredible resiliency of our government. Our Congress, filled with old men, older than I am, were standing at 3 o'clock in the morning, this morning, voting to certify the election of the President of the United States, despite attacks by fellow members, attacks by outsiders, a lawlessness that has not been seen in the Capitol building since the British occupied and burned it in the War of 1812. So, while it is indeed a day of legitimate consternation and concern, and who knows what's going to happen in the future, to me, it is an incredible day to celebrate our Constitution and our leaders and our nation.